Hello everyone, welcome back to Let Me Tell You Why podcast. Jeremy Jacobowitz. I am your host, Jeremy Jacobowitz, and today we're talking about one of my favorite subjects in the entire world, American cheese. And we are talking with the chef that is trying to save American cheese. But a lot more to get to before we get to that. So much restaurant news, a new smash burger, Bread's Bakery Cheesecake Month is almost here. I got all the details. A dreamy Japanese breakfast has just launched, and of course, what I'm into this week. But of course, first, thank you guys so much for listening, subscribing, sharing, commenting, DMing, doing all those things. I really appreciate you guys being here. If you want to keep helping out, obviously watching and listening to this is good too, but leave a 5-star review if you're listening to this on Apple or Spotify. Comment on YouTube. Make sure you continue to subscribe and share. And I really appreciate you guys being on this journey with me. Don't forget, because I love you guys so much, exclusive to you guys, JeremyJShop.com has a deal for you. If you use code April25, you get 12% off. Guess what? We just launched shorts. They look cool. They're fun for the summer. It's getting hot finally. Summer's almost here, so we got shorts. We got a million dad caps. I'm wearing this one today. People have been loving those too, and so much more. So check that out. In case you missed it, I talked about this in the past few episodes. I launched a Substack. It's going great. We've got some really fun stuff that just dropped this week on there. First of all, there is a list of everything to eat at Yankee Stadium. There, I think it was like 26, 32, I forget. Everything you want to eat broken down by what it is, what they're serving, where it is in the stadium. That is on Substack. And if you want to see that video of everything new that I loved, that is on YouTube now and should be dropping soon on IG or TikTok. It might be on TikTok by the time this is out. I'm not sure. But if you want to watch it right now, that's on YouTube. And of course, still on Substack too, 53 Things to Eat in LA is live. My biggest guide ever. There's endless options. And that's, 53 is like barely scratching the surface of LA too. But you can check all that out on Substack. I'll put the link in show description, and there's a QR code here if you're watching on YouTube. All right, if you notice here, I'm wearing my Girls Gotta Eat sweater, and that's for a very important reason. I was on the Girls Gotta Eat podcast this week, so make sure you give a listen to that. Had so much fun with Raina and Ashley. We get into it with dating stories, dating advice, mostly just us messing around for a good 45 minutes. It is hilarious. Check that out everywhere you could find their podcast, which is, I guess, if you found my podcast, you're going to be able to find their podcast because it's in the same exact places. But let's get to some restaurant news. Okay, NADC Burger, that's not a damn chance, has been on my Chicago list for a while, so I was psyched to see that this smash burger spot is coming to New York City May 16th in Soho. The big difference in their burger, that is from Michelin star chef Philip Franklin Lee, they have jalapenos on it, and it looks so freaking good. I'm sure there's more differences too, and why their burger's amazing. I will be going there to find out, but that's what I see right away, and I'm like, oh hell yeah, give me that heat. And actually, it's funny, because 7th Street just launched their special jalapeno burger too, which I'm dying to try. So maybe we'll need to compare the two of them. Philippe Chow is launching a new happy hour at the Chelsea location dubbed Dragon Hour. They have a menu of food and drinks, of course, ranging from $5 to $10. Think satays, dumplings, and spring rolls. The chicken satay is good. Kings County Imperial is launching their new family-style menu Lucky Table on May 15th. These are going to be made for groups of 4 or more and include 3 different varieties, each starting with their poo-poo platter. And then the differences are they have the Jade Buddha is veggie and is $65 per person and comes with bok choy and shiitake pot stickers, veggie egg rolls, dry fried long beans, and salt and pepper tofu. The Red Pine is also $65 per person, and that comes with pork long dumplings, Cooper Well Street noodles, dry fried long beans, and General Tso chicken. I think that's the one I would get. And finally, the Imperial is $80 per person and comes with soup dumplings, sesame shrimp toast, hot and sour soup, wok seared pea shoots, fried rice, and a choice of either beef and broccoli chow fun or a crispy whole fish. Kings County Imperial, one of my favorites. So check that out. Bar Blondeau. How do you say it? I guess I've never had to say this out loud. Blondeau? Bar Blondeau? Blondeau. Whatever. at the White Hotel is opening their terrace for summer season. They have a menu full of locally made spirits, an afternoon tea service, and on the new spring menu, you can find a charcuterie plate, petit steak au pois, and a blondie sundae with baked banana. I think baked banana bread? Bananas and banana bread are on there. I really enjoyed my dinner at the residence of Mr. Moto in Williamsburg, so I'm psyched to see that they're launching a Japanese brunch menu. It's their version of the classic Japanese set breakfast, which will feature a soup, seasonal side dishes, white rice, and then you could expect things like miso cod, unagi, and more. The coffee also sounds amazing. It's a Japanese siphon coffee, which is infused with seasonal fruits, so you get like a little bit of like a tea experience in that coffee as well. Ippudo V is the all-new vegan, plant-based ramen offshoot of the original, which is opening in Brooklyn. They have 4 broths, tonkatsu, shoyu, miso, and chicken, that are all using plant-based ingredients to replicate the flavors of the originals. Even the noodles are now egg-free and packed with extra protein and fiber. On top of that, they have a number of different vegan appetizers, rolls, sandwiches, and dessert. So a classic kind of like reimagined. And finally, Bread's Bakery. Cheesecake May is back at Bread's Bakery from May 1st to June 2nd. On the special menu this year is their cheesecake babka, cheesecake rugula, Basque cheesecake, fromage blanc cheesecake, strawberry cheesecake bun, baked brie bun, and a pastita, which is a savory cheesecake with brie, eggs, onions, and potatoes. I mean, I'm excited for all of that. It might hurt my stomach, but it is. I've had it in the past years, and it is delicious. So in case you missed it, here are a few videos that I posted this week that I think you will love. Katz's, my favorite, 12 Chairs, my favorite, are launching a collab dish of my dreams, and I got to taste it. It is Katz's pastrami, right? Check that out. It is 12 Chairs hummus. Oh my God, my favorite hummus in the whole world. It's so creamy. Ooh my God. And they're putting it together in one super collab greatest dish of all time. The greatest collab of all time, let's say that. From April 28th to May 2nd to May 12th, if you go to 12 Chairs, you could order this. It also comes with the Angel's Bakery pita. So it is made, you could rip and dip, you could use a knife fork, you could do whatever you want. I saw the pastrami and I was like, I'm making a pita sandwich. Eat it however you want. It is so unbelievably good. Get there. You must get there. Go check that out. While supplies last, I can't imagine. Maybe it'll sell out every day, but just had to put on that warning. And then 12 Matcha has become one of the most viral spots in New York City, with lines wrapping around the block. And I was like, I got to figure out what the hell is happening here. So I went with Remy Veggiekins, who is a matcha queen, a matcha expert, because as much as I appreciate matcha, I just don't know as much about it. And I wanted to find out, like, why are people waiting? So we got a little behind the scenes tour of the whole facility. Longer version is on YouTube if you want to watch that. Shorter versions are on IG and TikTok. And we went to discover, why are people waiting for hours, and is it worth it? And from my novice perspective and Remy's actual expertise on it, we try and answer that question for you. Okay, but let's talk about the main subject today. That is American cheese. I love American cheese. It seems to be this like weird divisive thing for some reason, and it like comes from this idea. It's really funny. It's always like people in the industry, like chefs and like actual people in the food world, always will tell you they love American cheese. They're just things that like you need American cheese on. A cheeseburger, a tuna melt, a grilled cheese. I will take Kraft singles out of the plastic and I will eat it and I will love it. And it always, the hate for American cheese comes from people that like pretend to be foodies. So they're like, they think because they want to be perceived as a foodie, they have to hate this American cheese thing, whereas actually the opposite. It is a sign that you are a true foodie or understand knowledge of foods who love American cheese. It's very divisive, and I think a lot of it comes from what Kraft Singles has become, because that is like the omnipresent American cheese in this world. And why I wanted to talk to Eric Greenspan today is that not only is he a super acclaimed chef, you've seen him all over Food Network, but he launched something called New School American Cheese, which I have been obsessed with. And I've been seeing it more and more and more across menus in New York City and LA too. So I wanted to just chat with him about like his thought process of like why did he feel like American cheese needed to be saved? What about New School is different, and like just what is it like taking on this like behemoth of what we understand as American cheese and what he's trying to do with it. And it's just a subject we obviously both love American cheese, so I thought it was fun. And yeah, let's chat with Chef. All right, so first things first, like what do you love about American cheese?
What don't I love about American cheese? You know, I mean, for me, it's obviously a combination of performance and nostalgia, right? Like it reminds me of everything that I loved as a kid and as an immature adult, right? Like when I'm eating all of, all of the grubby, like American style comfort food stuff, it's always better when it's, grilled cheese, burgers, mac and cheese. It's always better with American cheese. Um, and the creaminess, the meltiness, the stickiness, right? Like it's the only cheese that does what it does. It is a singular experience, American cheese. Love it or leave it, it is a singularly unique experience.
What did I mean? You talk about like the nostalgia, and I think that like what I go back to for American cheese, I think most people is like Kraft singles, I guess.
Right.
Like, what did you see with Kraft singles? Where like, okay, here's this thing that everyone knows and grew up with, and I still love. But like, what did you think? Like, okay, how can we improve this, and why did you want to improve it?
I mean, I was writing. It started when I was writing the Great Grilled Cheese book, right? And I separated the book by chapters, and each chapter was a different cheese, and I led with American cheese, and I was like, let's put an American cheese recipe in there, right? And then I looked it up, and I was like, oh God, like that's going to be pretty hard to get people to make, American cheese at home when it's got phosphates and sorbic acid and, starches and all this kind of stuff in it, right? And it just kind of got me thinking that like these days, people think about the blend of their burgers, right? It's dry aged or it's a chuck brisket blend and stuff like that. And you got people baking their own buns, and you got people, hand whisking their mayos, right? But then they put, a slice of Kraft on it and call it a day because American cheese is the proper burger, is the proper cheese for a burger, right? But they didn't really have any options. And so I kind of wanted to complete the cycle of quality, right? Like there's, a burger is no longer just a burger to people, right? A burger has become a culinary expression. Like people are elevating, American comfort food to levels that, that haven't been elevated before. And it really starts with quality ingredients, but there's never a quality American cheese. And then you look at, the product landscape and some of the brands that I've always really loved and respected, like look at what Sir Kensington's did to condiments, right? Or what, what Olipop was trying to do to sodas. And the list kind of goes on and on and on of all these like, better for you or better quality ingredients in classically, non-quality categories. And there was no one doing it in American cheese, for us, it wasn't though just about being like a better for you brand, right? Because like, let's be honest, like Sir Kensington's is great, but it's not Heinz, right? And Olipop is great, but it's not Coca-Cola, right? And so for us, it was really important to like not only be a cleaner, quote unquote better for you brand, but to be like a better tasting and a better performing brand as well, right? Like we wanted to take American cheese and make it not just better ingredients, but also like we wanted to taste better than the American cheese that was out there. We wanted to melt better than the American cheese that was out there. Like we took our time to make sure that we could do all of it, right? Be everything.
For someone that's never had it, like how would you compare it to maybe like a Kraft singles? I mean, but I obviously have had it a million times. So it's sort of like my understanding.
Wait. You've never had a Kraft single?
No. I'm saying I've for someone that I would literally, my love of American cheese goes deep. Like I'm very happy to pull that thing out of the plastic and eat it right there. Like that is
right.
Fine for me. No, right. For someone that hasn't had it, and then sort of like my understanding of the history of American cheese, though, is that yours is probably more like what it originally was, at least flavor-wise, right?
Yeah, I mean, like American cheese kind of started here, right? Like, and it was basically like a way to pasteurize cheddar cheese so that you can ship it without refrigeration and like back 100 years ago when that stuff was kind of important. And then for, because of the sodium citrate in there, which is like the magic that kind of keeps it together, people started to realize like we don't really even need to put anything else real in it, and we can still do it. And so it kind of went down like that in terms of quality. We went up, right? So instead of regular cheddar, we used aged cheddar, and but like back in the day, yeah, they used to use butter, and now they use oil, and we use cream instead of water, and things like that. But like I think that the big difference is, and Kraft Singles is different than other American cheeses too. Let's be honest, right? Like there are I think new schools here, right, and the next one is there, but there's a lot of American cheeses out there that are better than a Kraft Single. I think a Kraft Single tastes very manufactured, right?
Oh yeah,
but
it's almost that idea of, like you were saying with Heinz, is like it doesn't really matter if someone makes a better ketchup. Like if that is what you are used to of what it should taste like, it's almost like. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's really funny.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, yeah, continue.
But I think that like it's American cheese to me has always been texture over flavor, right? In fact, you always, typically to me, the flavor always tasted like, at least with Kraft, it always tasted a little off to me, or just like, like I said, a little bit muted, let's say, right? But because we use aged cheddar, like I wanted you to taste the cheese. I wanted it to taste natural, right? And you do that by two things, right? You keep it natural, right? The only what you would consider a non-natural ingredient, and it's arguable that it is sodium citrate, right? Which is just a salt. That's why we went with the aged cheddar route. Like we wanted it to be flavor forward. We wanted it to actually, like, American cheese has always contributed texture and not much else, right?
Yeah. For
New School, we wanted it to contribute texture, but we also wanted it to contribute flavor. We wanted it to be an element in the party and not just like an addition. Does that make sense? So,
yeah, totally.
So for us, it was really important to have flavor. And then, from a texture perspective, more and more these days, big American, shall we call it, right, has been, they add more sodium citrate to keep it together. They call it tabling. And so it kind of keeps that corner on the cheese when it melts. And I think that that's a travesty. Like I like my American cheese to melt like a hug, right? So we put less sodium citrate in it than most brands. And it was funny because, like when we started making this stuff, the people, the co-manufacturers and all the people in the dairy in Wisconsin and stuff didn't really understand what we were trying to do. Because, for generations, like American cheese has kind of been the same thing. And they're like, hey, congratulations. Like, because we reduced the sodium citrate, you could market your cheese as a low sodium cheese. And I'm like, why the fuck would I want to do that? You know what I mean? I'm like, put salt in it. And they're like, how much? And I'm like, whatever you got to put in it to bring it back to where it's supposed to be, right? Like, and because we were able to put a little bit more salt in ours than others, you can also really taste the notes of the aged cheddar, so it almost enhances the flavor even more, right? And that was really important to us. It was important to us to be, to take what American cheese was, maintain that, and then improve it kind of like texturally and flavor and the whole thing.
So kind of going back a little bit now, so you had this idea for this new American cheese you want to do. Like, what was the process of actually like creating the company and manufacturing it and getting it out there?
I mean, dude, it was like a 5.5-year process. When we first started, we tried to do something that was completely all natural, right? So like the goal was not to try to create something without sodium citrate in it either. And we even had like a patent pending with, we worked with South Dakota State University on trying to like create a patent of like this process that could make it. And it worked at the benchtop. It took us like 2 years to get that thing going. And then we realized that it was almost impossible to like commercialize it. And we started thinking, and we're like, we're putting all this work into like not putting sodium citrate in the cheese. And what we're not paying attention to is any of the other ingredients. And so we said, let's keep, like, I don't think people care about the sodium citrate as much as the overall quality of the product. Let's focus on adding cream instead of water. Let's focus on aged cheddar instead of regular cheddar cheese. Like, let's use paprika and turmeric to color it instead of annatto even, which is not even an unnatural ingredient, but sounds better. And let's work around the sodium citrate to make it just a higher, all the other inputs being super high quality. And then finding the right person to make the cheese took us years and years and years. I mean, COVID didn't help, right? Both because manufacturers were shutting down, but also because production was spiking. Everybody was sitting at home. Everybody wanted comfort, and so we couldn't even find line time or anybody willing to R&D with us. But it was hard to find somebody to make it because they didn't get it. Like I said, for generations, these people have been sending their kids to the University of Wisconsin in Madison on commodity American cheese, and they're like, we don't understand. Like, why make it better? Why make it more expensive? It's a $6 billion market. Like, we don't need to. And and me and my partner Alan were very much like, nah, but there's a bunch of people out there who want to have a better experience. Look, American cheese and people and the industry itself hasn't pivoted because the numbers are so massive, right? But people have been leaving the category for at large clips because people read ingredients now. People care more today about what they eat than ever before. And so it took a really long time to get somebody who was like, okay, we get it, we see it, we want to do this, and we can do this. And then it was about how do you get it in the market, right? I was driving it around in my when you and I met actually was the first time we met at Yankee Stadium when we were on that 99 burger when they launched it, and that was the first food service account that we got through distribution that I wasn't driving around in the trunk of my car dropping off at people's places, right? It's to get a product into distribution is so hard because it's a chicken and egg, right? They don't want to bring it in until you have customers, but you can't have customers until you're in distribution. I was lucky that the chef, from Yankee Stadium at the time was followed me on Instagram, and I'd been chronicling New School and its progress for years and years and years, and finally I was like, it's in market. He's like, dude, I need it tomorrow. And so we were able to call Chef's Warehouse, who was the distributor that they used, and get it in. It was so cut and dried just to get it into distribution that at that Yankee Stadium event that we were at, we hadn't gotten the first pallet delivered to Chef's Warehouse yet, and I flew with a suitcase.
I remember this,
of blocks of New School straight into JFK, and then took the suitcase to Yankee Stadium so that they had cheese for opening day. It was like a bizarro episode of Blow. You know what I mean? Where it was when you open it up, and instead it was blocks of American cheese.
That gets my next question. So where is it sold in stores right now? And then where, I know I keep seeing it pop up on menus, at least in New York City. Are there some standout restaurants that you recommend people go try it at that you've been loving how they've been using it?
I mean, look, it's mainly in food service. Food service has been our priority, right? We think that if chefs love it, people are going to love it, right? And we feel like it's such a good product that chefs are going to want to put it on their menu, and they're going to want to list it on their menu. They're going to want to say, we use New School American cheese, right?
Yeah.
We got really lucky that the name kind of helps with that too. Even if you don't know the brand New School, just reading the words New School American cheese implies, oh, this is a different American cheese. And plus, look, I've got a lot of friends in the business, right? I've got a lot of chefs respect me and dig what I do, right? And so when I have access to be able to get it into the hands of the right people and open up that first store. So food service has been really good to us in getting it into restaurants. In New York, I'd say my two favorite places serving it right now is the Hexter's Burger. We talk about that.
Love that burger. Yep. Mm-hmm.
That burger's so good. That place is so cool. I love that place. And the Reveille Luncheonette?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the patty melt there. That's a New School.
I've had that also. Yes. Yeah.
That's a New School. Those are probably two of my favorites. And then we do a bunch of collabs and pop-ups down there too that are always kind of fun and exciting with our Ate It friends and stuff like that. outside of New York, what are some great places? I know like Chispaca, Nancy Silverton's place does it on her burger at Chispaca on Burger Day, and Mei Lin at Daybird melts it on her fish sandwich with that caviar tartar sauce that she does.
I mean, listen, it's $80, but it is delicious.
It's so good, right? It's so good. Do you know Liberty Kitchen in Philly?
Yes, I do. I haven't been there, but yes, that's definitely on my radar.
So Liberty uses it on like their egg sandwiches and on their cheesesteaks, and you can actually buy it. They sell it. They'll slice it for you off the block.
Oh, amazing.
In shop. So like, look, we're mainly in food service, kind of all over the country. And our webpage, we keep it updated with like places that are serving it. We're slowly dipping our toe into retail. We're in like small specialty shops that have a really good engagement with their customers, like high-end butcher shops and like specialty goods stores. Like, we're not in any major supermarkets yet. That's the goal for this year, is to kind of start dipping our toe into that world. Like, people know the brand now and are searching for it. And frankly, we're kind of sick of not being able to answer that question. Like, where can I get it? Where can I get it? Where can I get it? Right? Like, there's a lot of people at home who want to have it. We're probably going to start in the deli case is the hope. Yep. So like, you can go, the ideal would be like to be able to, to be in the deli case first, where somebody's slicing it for you and you can control your thickness and you can talk to somebody about what it is. I mean, look, once we get on the shelves, Kraft Singles likes every single one of our social media posts, every one of them. It's like their way of saying like, hi, we see you. And I know that once we get into the supermarkets, it's kind of like a different game, right? From a competition perspective and a shelving perspective, we want to make sure that enough people know who we are and enough people look for what we want to do before we kind of get into that game. But it's definitively our goal. I mean, we're in year 3 now. And so it's definitively our goal this year to start kind of pushing more into retail.
What we kind of talked about, what you think like American cheese works so well on. Is there something like weird that you're like, wow, didn't expect this to work so well? Like, my brain goes to every time I talk about American cheese or pizza or quote unquote bad pizza, and I don't know this is bad pizza, but there's that like pizza in Pennsylvania that puts American cheese on it or something.
Yeah,
and people are like, this looks bad. I'm like, that looks incredible to me.
What do I know? We've done some pizza stuff, which is fun. I think the weirdest thing that I had it in was ramen. Have you ever done American cheese in ramen? Like cheesy ramen?
I feel like I must have, but I don't remember where.
Dude, cheesy ramen is crazy good, where you just kind of put a slice of cheese like on top of the noodles in the middle, and then you just kind of slowly fold it in to it. And like, because it's got flavor to it, like it stands up to kind of all of the umami and all the stuff that's going on. That's been a really fun use for it. Do you remember the Donut Project? They're not around anymore, but they were downtown in New York.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
They made like a bacon, egg, and cheese donut with New School once. And
like
they made
a sandwich,
New School
or they
donut.
like put it on top.
No. They made like a donut. They made a donut. They put American cheese on top of it, and and candied bacon on top, and like, I don't know what they did, but it was crazy good. It's fun because like, I think that our cheese, more than any other, other American cheeses out there, because we kind of have that kind of rogue, creative kind of chef spirit going on, and because like chefs love the stuff and get super excited. A lot of people do like kind of, super creative stuff with New School and start really playing around. So it's been good.
What? This is a question I ask everyone. What is like the most iconic New York City restaurant in your eyes?
Whew. That's a tough one, huh? I mean, look, I'm a deli guy, right? I'm a deli guy, so I mean, like I think Katz is one of those places that's iconic, absolutely iconic. Like that, like when I'm at Katz, I feel like I am in New York City, right? I'll be honest with you, any corner bodega to me feels like an iconic New York restaurant, right? And then I'd say like it's crazy because like everywhere else in the country, like high-end restaurants kind of have their time, like they hit and then they go, and other ones kind of take their place. And in New York, there always seems like there's a lot more staying power for those things. So like you can't say that like John George isn't like an iconic New York restaurant.
I literally just got back from his cafe in the South Street Seaport.
Yeah, how was it?
Oh my God. They made an onion croissant, like these really, really cooked down cheesy onions with a super buttery, flaky croissant. It was unbelievably good.
Oof, that sounds great. And then like look, Russ and Daughters to me is one of those places that's like iconic. I usually go now to the bagel place and to the bagel shop instead of like the old school spot because I think the Heapster is one of my favorite bagel sandwiches, on earth. Like the old Utopia in Queens to me feels like a quintessential New York restaurant. There's so many of them, man. New York's the best. Like I'm so jealous. Like I want to come back so bad.
Listen, I travel so much, but I'm always happy coming back here, and it's literally endless. I mean, it's endless places of old and new every single second opening, and I can't even. It's my job, and I can't even keep up with it. But speaking of new places, if you have anything you'd like to say, is there something happening at the Tesla Diner?
I don't have a comment about that. I'm sure. I'm sure there is something.
I had to ask.
I get it. I'm sure there is something happening at the Tesla Diner.
Okay.
But I certainly can't comment on it.
All right. Thank you again, Chef. I tried. I did a little journalism there. I tried. Obviously not ready to talk about anything yet there soon. But I hope you guys get to try the cheese soon. As he said, one of his best ways to try it is at Hexter's. That is one of my favorite burgers. It's in Upper East Side, so definitely check that out if you're looking to eat it right now. But let's get into what I'm into. And I watched a few things over the past 2 weeks. The first thing is Adolescence, which is on Netflix, and that is it's a 4-part series, very easy to get through. I binged it in one night, and how do I even describe it? And like on a very macro level, it's about this like kid, I think he's like 12 or 13 or something, that kills a classmate, and sort of dealing with the fallout from that. It's not really, the story isn't really crafted in a very normal way, so we'd even say that, whatever, like it's not a mystery. We all kind of know what happens immediately in the first 2 seconds. It's more about like what led up to this, what makes someone do that, what world are we in. It deals with a lot of like cultural issues right now, especially with young men, on what would make a kid murder someone, and what young men are dealing with, and it kind of talks about that and the fallout of that and what that means to his family, to the police, to everyone sort of like around, like what does this mean on a very like cultural significance level. And what's crazy about it to me is not only the story, but the way it's shot, I think, is insane. It's all one take. These are 45-minute episodes that are one take. One take means like there's no cuts, there's no edits. They start filming, and that is the entire episode. And I'm not saying like sometimes they're just like in a room, but the choreography and dance and everything they do, from acting to directing to crew to lighting to everything, they move locations multiple times. They're in and out of cars, they're through walls, they're doing all of this with no cuts. It is bonkers how they made this. And I think they said that it's like they like rehearsed it twice and then it's like filmed it 8 times or something, and then like that's it. You can't cut, which I thought was bonkers. Overall, I thought the show was really good. I felt like it got a little too after school special in moments, a little bit for me. But overall, like an easy watch, really fascinating subject matter that I don't think is like talked about in this way, I guess. Sort of seeing like the fallout of just like how young men are growing up on the internet and what that could really do to someone. And then again, just like the insane way they shot it. I think it's a definitely must watch. And then this past weekend was WrestleMania weekend, the greatest weekend of the entire year. I thought it was definitely not a top tier WrestleMania, but a very good WrestleMania. Some fun surprises. Best matches were the triple threat for the women's world championship. Match fucking ruled. It's probably my favorite match of the weekend. Second favorite was triple threat, Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, CM Punk in the main event of night one. That was fantastic. Dominic Mysterio winning the Intercontinental Championship, which I thought was going to happen. When it did happen, still like my favorite moment of the weekends, which is crazy because he's like been a bad guy for a while, but the place just fucking erupted. And when he ran back to the ring to like celebrate his moment, like wrestling's fake, but wrestling's goddamn real there. Like he just like deserved that moment so much. Like I know most of you can appreciate this, but like he kind of like wasn't good for a while, and it was a nepo baby, and like got no respect, and he just like put in the fucking work to turn his whole character around, to get better in the ring, to really find himself, and you are rewarded for that. Even in this fake world, you get to be rewarded for that, and like that's what makes wrestling so special. And then of course John Cena won his 17th world championship. Now the greatest world champion of all time. He's a bad guy now, if you guys don't know. And while that match was fine, wasn't the best match, it's big moments, and sort of like this is our next year until he retires at the end of December, of like bad guy John Cena with the world championship. What the hell is going to happen? So yeah, that you could watch replays of that on Peacock, and just a big weekend for me. SummerSlam is in New York this year at MetLife. Hopefully I will be there. I want it to be Wrestlemania in Vegas, but the prices for everything were just like crazy. I wasn't gonna do it. But I hope you guys like this episode. Continue watching, continue subscribing, continue listening. Leave those 5-star reviews, leave those comments. Let me know everything. Let me know all your thoughts and feelings. I love chatting with you guys, and I will talk to you soon.